You all right? Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna introduce you and then Cool. If you don't know, this is Mark Cuban, billionaire investor on Shark Tank, hands down the best shark, and he made his money through technology and expanding his fortune into different industries. He's without a doubt one of the most iconic entrepreneurs of all time. Give it up for Mark Cuban. About myself, my name is Luca Salvatore. I'm 17 years old and I'm building a durable soccer ball company. I submitted a patent this summer and I'm prototyping to test the durability of the product. I pictured for myself just to continue helping out young entrepreneurs starting out their entrepreneurial journey by connecting them with mentors and role models which can lead them in the right direction. And about our school, so this is Jackson High School. We're one of the most well-known public schools in DC. And in fact, one of your idols, Warren Buffett, attended this high school.
Well, damn, okay. Did not know.
Yeah, so if you want to give yourself a quick introduction, and then I can get into some questions.
Sure. My name is Mark, and I live in Dallas, Texas. I'm a huge basketball fan. Used to be the majority owner of the Dallas Mavericks. Run a company called Cost Plus Drugs. Been an entrepreneur since I was y'all's age. 17, 16, starting businesses, heavy side hustles, grinding it out all I could. And a lot of good things happened for me. Some of my successes, I had one of the first systems integration companies back when I was in my 20s where I learned how to code, built that up and sold that to H&R Block. And then I started the very first streaming company in the early days of the internet called broadcast.com, where we literally were the first people to go out there and do streaming for businesses. Everything Spotify, YouTube does, we were doing in the mid-90s. Took it public with the biggest first-day jump in the history of the stock market at the time. Sold it, bought the Mavs, started a bunch of other companies, now run costplusdrugs.com. And I'm here just because Luca is amazing. He convinced me, he pushed me. The man is a beast, so I had to be here for y'all. So here I am.
That's actually interesting because I'm going to go into my questions now. And
Because you really are a beast and you just want everybody to know.
Well, so the first question is, why did you accept my offer to talk to my high school club?
Because I like talking to high school entrepreneurs. You were persistent. And I think, being an entrepreneur gives you the opportunity to change the world. Like in the auditorium you're in right now, the seat that you're on, the lights above you, the screen that I'm on. One day those did not exist. And then somebody had the idea, I'm going to redesign seats for auditorium. I'm going to create a bigger screen TV. I'm going to look at those panels above me. I'm going to design them. It was somebody's idea. It was an entrepreneur's idea that turned that into a company and made it possible. The microphone you're using. So you have to ask yourself, and I want every kid to ask themselves, why not me? Why can't it be my idea? Just to change everything. And now in an age of AI, where y'all are so used to AI, first you used it to cheat, now you use it for all kinds of funky stuff, right? You have the opportunity to create new ideas and have access to just the most incredible information through ChatGPT, Perplexity, whatever you use, Gemini, that nobody else has ever had access before. 3-4 years ago, before all this stuff hit, I had an advantage because of my experience. I knew more. Sorry, I'm taking this out. I have a cold, so I apologize. I had an advantage because of all my experience. Now, by just plugging questions into a foundational AI model, you have the equivalent of every professor in the world, every library book in the world, everything, every business plan that anybody's ever thought of. And you can use those models to help you create your business. There's nothing you can ask. Me today, I'll sit down with them and I'll ask questions about my business. I'm like, how can I improve this? what do you think about this? Well, do some deep research and tell me about my competition. Tools that, would normally take me hours or consultants comes back in minutes. And so I want to see you guys learn how to use these tools because I want to see you guys really go out there and start companies. Because there is no better time to start a company when you're 16, 17, 18, 15, or 14 years old than right now. Because there's never been all these tools available for you. And one of y'all sitting in the audience is going to do something really good. It's just a question of, are you willing to go out there and try it?
Okay, so the first question is, if you were sent back in time to be a high schooler and you had $100, no connection, and a laptop with Wi-Fi, what steps would you take specifically to become a multimillionaire in your 20s?
I would find something that I had a skill set at. So most likely, like, I'm a tech geek, and so I like spending time learning about all this new stuff, right? I'll spend time with every new, Sora came out yesterday, Nano Banana, VO. I'm messing with all that stuff. Like, it's almost like, in your Instagram and TikTok feed, you see the little baby, AI baby videos, and you see the gorilla videos and all that stuff. Like, I'm crazy enough, like, I go in there trying to recreate those things because I want to learn all that stuff. And what that now allows me to do, and what I would do if I went back in time, I would start going to businesses and say, particularly small to medium-sized businesses, and say, I know you don't know this stuff. And I know you're afraid of all this new AI stuff that's happening. But I've learned, and I know it better than you. You tell me where, you let me come in and talk to people in your business, and you tell me where things are too slow or aren't getting done, and I'll show you how to use AI. If, I would teach myself how to develop agents, because with agentic AI, you can take, normal business processes and automate them so it takes no time and saves a company a lot of money. And if you save a company a lot of money, you can charge them a lot of money. So that's exactly what I would do. I would walk into stores, I would walk into businesses, I would, ask for referrals from friends and family and say, if you want to learn more about AI, I'm the guy to teach you. It's $50 an hour or whatever I charge. And, maybe I'll even do it as a percentage of savings so I can make even more money. And that's how I would start going.
My second question is, with your sports experience, how do you turn an outcome around when you're headed to lose? So not just in sports, but also in life.
I get buckets. I control what I can control. And just like in a game, right? With it's Kyrie Irving or Luka and now Cooper Flag, when the game's on the line, your preparation, it's where you trust your preparation. And it's the same in business, where if you're prepared going in, you don't feel pressure. If you've done all the work, if you've got your shots up, if you're always in the gym, you know how to take a shot, you're just repeating the things you've already done a million times. That's what Kyrie, that's what Cooper Flag's in the gym all the time. Like, we have this technology that tracks shots. He's getting up more shots than anybody. And that's so when the game is on the line, that shot he takes, he's totally confident it's going in. And I feel the same way about business. Business is like a sport. You're competing all the time. And so when I walk into a business situation, I know that I'm prepared. I know that I've done my homework and I'm walking in there ready to go. And when you do that, you don't get nervous, you're ready, the game's on the line, you're trying to close the deal, whatever it may be, and I'm confident I'm going to get it done, and I usually do.
Okay, so the third question, and this applies to basically everyone here, is, do you think that college is worth it at this age?
Hell yes. Not just yes, not just maybe, not just kinda. I'd use other stronger language, but I'll go hell yes, and I'll tell you why. One, dealing with people is 90% of the battle. You've got to know how to relate. You've got to know how to understand how to relate to different types of people. Because when you go into the business world, you don't know who's going to be on the other side of the table when you're sitting down to negotiate a deal, make a sale, learn new technology, whatever it may be. And in college, you get exposed to all different types of people. And you live with them, learn with them, go to class with them, and being able to learn how to communicate is one thing. Second, you learn how to keep a schedule. You got it some with high school, but you're still going home to mom and dad. When you're in college, particularly if you live away, then you got to learn how to get yourself out of bed. You know, you can't just sleep through classes. You're held accountable. You're being graded. So that's the second part. But the most important part when it comes to business is it teaches you the language of business. Like, I've always had an advantage. I went to Indiana University, go Hoosiers, ranked number 8. And so at IU, I took accounting classes, because that's the language of business. I took finance, because that's about cash, right? If I don't know how to manage my cash, if I don't know how to do a budget, if I don't know how to do a P&L or balance statement, or balance sheet, then I'm always going to be dependent on somebody else. If I don't know marketing terms, if I don't know how to get online and do all these things, you know, and use these skills, then I always have to get somebody to help me. And if you're going to be an entrepreneur, if you're going to be great in business, you've got to be able to speak those languages yourself. You've got to feel confident about talking about accounting and how it all you know, debits and credits work together. You've got to be confident understanding finance, understand how you're spending your money with, you know, internal rate of returns and discounted cash flows. All that stuff, marketing plans, all that. Now you can use AI to help you, and you can use it to help you learn more, but if you don't understand that, you're always dependent. And if you're coming after my company and you're competing with me because I know it, I'm gonna kick your ass. Because while you're waiting on somebody else, I'm getting it done.
So you actually were talking about this early on, but can you go more in detail about this question? So this question is, how can we, as teenagers, implement AI into other businesses?
You just gotta learn it, you gotta play with it. The biggest challenge with everybody, not just kids, with AI, is you're afraid to ask the stupid business questions, right? You think, okay, that's not for AI, but pretend like you have me or Warren Buffett sitting next to you, or a professor sitting next to you. What questions would you ask it? Like, one of the experiments I did was, okay, I'm just gonna come up with an idea and just see what it says about it. And so I said, you know what? And I was on Gemini, and I was like, okay, I wanna create a product, and I want it to be a button that fits on a shirt that has a video camera in it and storage, so it can store 24 hours of video just as long as I have a button on my shirt, whatever kind of shirt that is. And then I can just take it off and it'll transfer it over and do whatever I want with it. So I went into Gemini and I said, I want you to create a business plan for it. I want you to do a bill of materials, which is all the components that go into manufacturing my product. And I want you to do a patent application for it. 12 minutes. 12 minutes. And it came back with everything. Now, was it 100% right? No. Did I have to ask follow-up questions? Yes. But the point is that you can ask it anything and give yourself an advantage. Like, by the time you get back by the time you're done with lunch, right, or tomorrow's lunch, you could be sitting there asking it about a business and it'll flesh out the whole thing. And by the time you get home, you could be ready to start. That is insane. There has never been a time in the history of time, ever, anywhere in the world, where anybody had that option available to them until right now. And you know what's even cooler? It's changing every day. Like when I started the streaming business, like in order to stream back in the 90s, way back in the day, right, you had to have a PC, not a phone, a PC, and then it had what's called a modem, right? Y'all even know what a modem is? And it would do a dial-up on a phone line, which you never use anymore. And then it would have to call into an internet service provider. Then you'd have to download all this different software just to stream a radio station, just to stream music, whatever. I mean, it was all this work you had to do. And here we are 30 years later, and you don't think about streaming when you turn on Netflix or Peacock or whatever it is, ESPN. It's just there. Well, that's where we're in 1995 in AI terms. It's all going to get better and better and better and better. And so when you start learning it now, all this new stuff coming out continuously, play with it, learn it, Right. I mean, if you're creative, you know, like I don't have a creative code in my body, but if you're creative and you're using VO or Nano Banana or Sora or whatever, right, your creativity is going to be amplified 1,000 times over. 6 months ago, no, let's say 2 years ago, it took you hours to do a video, right? You had to edit it, you're using Final Cut, you're using whatever, right? And now it takes you 3 minutes, and you can do it via text, you know, with just text prompts. This is the best time to learn AI, and if you can get in front of it, each time it changes, you're already 90% there, you only have to learn the 10%.
Mark, how would you recommend to push through no's and rejections early on as an entrepreneur when you're working on your business?
I mean, every no gets me closer to a yes. Nobody hits 100. No one bets 1,000%. Nobody gets a hit every time up. No one makes every shot. You know, and so you're gonna get a no. But I would just get fired up. Okay, all right, I got you. I'm on to my next. I'm gonna get the next one. I'm gonna learn from the shot I missed. I'm gonna learn from the deal I didn't close. I'm gonna learn from the no I got, and I'm gonna go on to the next. And then I'm gonna go on to the next. Because you know what? 99% of people stop. And I don't stop. You know? And let me just tell you, when I was 16, when I was 17, it wasn't like I was that guy. It wasn't like I was the homecoming king, and, you know, I wasn't, you know, I got cut from the basketball team. Like, I had game, but it was a big high school. But, you know, so it wasn't like I was just that guy. And I really had to just motivate myself to just figure stuff out and push myself. And you guys can do the same thing. So getting no is easy. It's no big deal at all. The hard part is when you get the no, and then another no, and then another no, and keep on going. Because every time it's going to make you smarter.
How do you find the self-confidence to keep on pushing? I know, like, you know, you can say that, yeah, you should not stop at the nose, but how do you really find that self-confidence to keep on pushing?
It's a great question, Luca. You got to ask yourself why you started. Why did you get going, right? Why did you even decide to take this path? And sometimes you got to remind yourself. You know, I would drive around looking at, you know, the big houses, trying to figure out if I could ever afford one. You know, and that would motivate me. I would listen to motivational speeches. This old dude named Zig Ziglar, I would listen to, you know, the equivalent of a podcast, just to fire me up. And, you know, and I would, I'd be driving, listening to this dude, going, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. Everybody, you know, everybody goes through that self-doubt, including me today. You know, you get imposter syndrome, all this stuff. But you just got to you got to remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing, and use that as motivation. You just got to, you know, one of the things that I always tell myself is, how I do anything is how I do everything. You know, if you're in sports, there's guys that are going to run, when the coach says we're doing suicides or we're running sprints, there's some guys that stop a yard or a foot before the baseline or before the 100 yards, and there's some guys that run through it, or women that run through it. I always try to be the guy who runs through it. Don't stop a little short. Make sure I'm going through, because that's the habits I want to be in. How you do the little things, that's how you're going to do the big things too. So once you get into the habits of learning and being curious and doing the little things that help you learn, when you walk into those situations and you're hearing no, your confidence is there. And again, the other part of it is, when you're selling something, particularly if it's your company, if it's your company, you've got to believe so much in that product that you're not really hearing no. You're telling yourself, you know what, this product or service is so good, it's important, it's incumbent upon me to let these people know how I can help them. That's how good my product is. It's here to help them. And so you feel like you're helping people rather than selling to people.
So this next question is kind of a controversial one, but do you think that social media helps or hurts this generation?
I think it hurts. I think, you know, I think social media started off cool. Back in the day where you just followed people, and whoever you followed, whoever it was, you saw their feeds, and that was pretty well set. Now everything's driven by algorithms. And the algorithms are driven by how much money you can make TikTok, how much money you can make Instagram, how much money you can make X, whatever it is. They're all about using you to get paid. And so it's really easy to go down the rabbit holes because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to take you down those rabbit holes. My hope is AI just screws up all of it. Because while it's cool that we see like the baby videos, like shake your head. You know what I'm talking about when I talk about the baby videos? So anyway, when you see nothing but that stuff, you're going to get bored with it. And so I think social media right now, TikTok, moving to America doesn't matter a damn bit. Instagram, the way it's evolved and changing some with the repost doesn't matter a damn bit. They're trying just to abuse kids, and that's not a good thing. And you guys are just dollar signs to them. They don't give a shit. And so I think there should be, y'all might not like this, it should be a minimum of 16. Because now you can get on Twitter, X, at 13, and there's some nasty shit on there. No, I'm just talking about, I'm not even telling you some of the stuff that comes up. And it's the same on Instagram. And while some of it's good, I think if you're under 16, you should only be able to get, your feed should only have the people you follow, or you shouldn't be allowed at all. And they should have to publish the algorithm so that people know. And I'll tell you one other piece of advice. At your age, at least with my kids, right, they're teenagers, they're not telling me everything that they used to. You know how I learned more about them than any other way? And my son kills me on this. He's like, Dad, why are you always looking over my shoulder when I'm online? And I'm like, Jake, because I learned more about you by looking at your Instagram feed and your TikTok feed than what you tell me. And from my perspective, as long as it's basketball, fantasy sports, football, Cowboys, hot girl, football, I'm cool, right? And it's when they get into the freaking, some of the crazy stuff, like y'all getting fed Andrew Tate and some of that stuff, that's just wrong, right? That's just putting y'all in a bad spot, and I think that needs to change.
So this is the last question I have. So given that you're a billionaire, how much money would you say to the upcoming generation is enough?
It's not about money at all, right? I was broke, and when I got to Dallas, my car had a hole in the floorboard. I moved into an apartment, a 3-bedroom apartment with 5 other guys. You know what a shithole it is when you got 6 guys in a 3-bedroom apartment? But I was happy, and I was learning, and I knew that I had a good chance to make something happen. But I always looked at it, it wasn't like, hey, I need to be a billionaire. I just wanted to have enough money to be able to control my own time. I actually bought a book when I was like 22 called How to Retire by the Age of 35. And what it talked about was just saving enough money to live like a student, and just, because then I wouldn't have to work. That was my goal. And when I sold my first company, I literally took off my watch, put aside my suit, bought a lifetime pass on American Airlines, and just partied like a rock star. In my mind, I was retired, and I was good at it. I was really, really good at it. I wasn't anywhere close to being a billionaire. I mean, I was just a couple $1 million. But it was more important to me to have my time, because especially now as I'm older, you can't get that back. And so when you talk about how much is enough, when you wake up in the morning, if you wake up with a smile on your face, you're winning, right? If you're excited about your day, you're way ahead of most of the world. And if you've got enough money where you don't have to stress about your bills, you're golden. Now, if you can take that one step further, where you can make more money so you don't have to worry about bills at all, and you can help other people not worry about their bills, you've got it made, right? So it's not about being a billionaire or having enough. Like, long before I got to be a billionaire, I was happy. I didn't need to make any more money. Now, I'm not complaining. It doesn't suck. Being a billionaire is damn good. right? I get to do things I never dreamed of in my entire life. I get to go places I never dreamed I'd be able to go. I'm able to help people in ways I never thought I could help people. I pay for people's heart transplants. I pay for operations. I do all this stuff that I never would have crossed my mind I'd be able to do. So when you ask how much is enough, you got to be the one to know, because it's a personal question to everybody. But all I tell you is, like, people think, you know, you're a billionaire, you have all these billionaire friends. No, my guys are the guys I went to high school with. Those are the guys that call me by my nickname still, right? And the guys I went to college with, the guys I played that were my rugby teammates at Indiana, those are still my boys. Those are still my best friends ever. And the people I know, they're not all rich by a long shot, but we're friends and we're close, and that's what's important. And the people that I know that have made a lot of money, the ones that keep on just trying to make more and more and more, are always the most miserable. Because they feel like that's how their self-worth is defined. Where am I on the Forbes 400? How do I compare? You know, how close can I ever catch Elon? No, it doesn't matter, right? What matters is you wake up fired up going, yeah, this is another great day for Luca. This is another great day for Mark.
Okay, so from right now, we're gonna do Q&A with the crowd. So Mark, would you want to choose someone from the crowd that you can see with the camera, or should I do it?
Either way, I don't care. Yeah, go ahead, you do it, because it's going to be hard for me to pick which
Okay,
one.
so raise your hand if you have a question. If you don't have a question, think of one.
Hey, Mr. Cuban, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Call me Mark Jonathan, I don't like to do
Perfect. Mark, so I'm a student and I started my own web design agency, and I leverage AI for it. And my question was, how do I scale a business like that?
So first you get results for your customers. You know, so whatever customers you have right now, you want to talk to them and just ask them, right? You know, not just are you paying me, but did I do a good job? Is there anything I can do better? Do you have anybody else that you might know that might need my services? And by doing that, you're going to start to grow. And as you grow and start working with more businesses that you're doing websites for, you'll start to see things that they do that educate you on better ways to market and better ways to grow your business. And then the other side of it is, I would go to, which AI do you use more often than not?
I use Cell for the web design creation. Have you heard of it?
Right. And do you use any like Claude or
Yeah.
ChatGPT or anything like that?
Yeah, I use ChatGPT a lot for like the idea generation and like also like finding
Cool.
clients and stuff like that.
Yeah, so then, perfect. So like, do more of that. Just ask it the question. You know, it knows about your business. It knows some of the details. Give it more, and just ask for ideas on how you can grow your business. It'll tell you, right? Because it's been listening to you this entire time, and now they've got good memory. So you know, it'll remind you, and it'll say, "Yeah, great question." Da 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 da. Right? Go with it. Just let it help you. And you know, the beauty of it is you can keep on iterating over and over and over. And if something doesn't work, try it. Ask it again, try it. But then the great part is you're going to keep on learning. You know, people think, oh, you get so dependent on ChatGPT. No, right? Think of it not as, think of it as a professor or as a teacher or as a mentor that has all these basic business insights. You know, don't ask it about your personal life and stuff like that. That's a little scary. But ask it, you know, I need a marketing plan. Or what's the best way for for me to use ChatGPT to add new customers, or to make, you know, to go back into my customers and add new services. Because if you've got somebody that you're using AI for now, it's probably a small to medium-sized business, and they probably don't know how to use AI. That's why they're using you, right? And so tell them, you know, or ask them. And this is probably the first place I'd start. Where else can I help you with AI? Do you want me to look more at your business? Now that I've designed websites for you and I know more about it, let me help you figure out what processes I can help make faster. Have you worked with agents at all, AI agents at all?
Not like directly with the business, but I've used AI agents to like help make the websites and like put information.
Cool, right, you go out and pull information from the websites and everything? Golden, right? So you're already ahead of 99% of the people out there. And so I would take that and say, look, here's how an agent works. Here's how I'm using it. I want to talk to people in your company, or even if it's only like a 2 or 3 person company. What are you doing for shipping? Can I help you with your invoices? Things that you think you have to hire people for? Let me show you how to use an AI agent to do that instead of you hiring someone. What was your name again? Was it John?
My name is Jonathan.
So once you get there, you're going to get paid, right? Because once you show somebody how they can save money in their business by using agents, you know anybody in that same business, now you know how to do it for that type of company, right? So you go to the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. And using agents, like I had one of my Shark Tank companies, they were getting ripped off by UPS and FedEx on their shipping limits. And they had somebody that would sit there and try to go through them, but they couldn't even keep up with all the sales and everything and all the rates. They wrote an agent that automated. It took, what the price list was that it should be, what the actual invoices were, and and compared the two, and started saving $10,000 a week, which is like everything for this company. And so you can do that stuff, right? So you got the golden ticket, bro. You can go in there and start doing all that stuff and make some real money. Congrats.
Thank you so much.
You got it.
Raise your hand if you also have a question.
What's up, Chris? There's always one, right? There's always one. What's done is done. What's done is done, please. At the time I wasn't a fan, I had nothing to do with it, but can't change it now. Nothing I can do. Wish Luka the best. I hope the Lakers go 0-82. But, Mavs got a squad. We got Coop. And if we still had Luka, we would not have gotten Coop. So we take the best. Kyrie will be back, and we're going to have a squad. You got it.
I'm going to call on Eli to see you next. You have the line now.
Hey, Mark.
What up, Eli?
My question is, so many entrepreneurs coming up with new ideas, the modern day, what's the best way for someone to make their product, their business model stand out from the rest?
You got to go to your customers and talk. Go to people that you know are interested in it. Doesn't matter what kind of product. You need customers, and so talking to them and finding out what it is that makes them want to, PayPal you some money or, cash out you some money. And once you get people paying you for it, you just start doing more of it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. You got it.
Mark, before I go into the line, I think, Ms. Ward, do you have a question? Can you raise your hand?
Fire away, Ms. Ward.
Ms. Ward, you can unmute yourself.
First of all, I did. First of all, thank you so much for agreeing to come and talk to our young people. I really appreciate that. And as a teacher, when you spoke about education and the finance classes that they need with IT, thank you for the plug. Thank you so much. Okay?
Yo, let me just tell you, if you don't know how to do a bank, look how a bank statement works, how a bank account works, how a credit card works, you'll never be rich. Period, end of story.
Okay, I have a student. Ask a question.
What up?
Hi, I'm Xavier.
Xavier.
I'm a striker, on the Jackson team, so sports means a lot to me, So I was wondering, was your purchase of the Dallas Mavericks, being a part owner, was that more of like a business expense you could see, or like more of like a fun type of thing?
Oh, that was fun, man. I still hoops, right? I just bought this. When I first got there, just going toe to toe with Dirk, we would play 1-on-1. And it's even on video. I went up 2-0 on Dirk, hit a couple shots, then he blocked my shit and dunked on me and I quit. But officially I beat Dirk 2-1, 1-on-1. It's just going out there shooting with the guys, shooting with Kyrie before a game. You can't ever replace it. And the best part about owning the team is, that last second shot, ball is in the air, ball goes through the hoop, everybody's going nuts. I get to run out in the court and dogpile with all the guys and not get arrested. That was the best part.
Okay.
You got it.
Hey Mark, my name is Duncan.
What up, Duncan?
And I know that you've been talking a lot about how beneficial AI can be for like especially young entrepreneurs. But do you have any like fears with AI, especially for young people who are trying to get into the workforce or trying to get entry level positions?
I think, a lot of people are saying it's going to be harder. It's harder if you try to get a job at a big company. Because big companies have experience and people that can learn AI, and they're trying to cut costs all the time. But if you remember, like the dude that was up there earlier, I'm sorry I forgot his name, that has the website business, he went to a small company and helped them. I think there's going to be more jobs available to people coming out of college, in particular, to go work at a small and medium-sized company. Because those small, medium-sized companies, there's 30 million of them. There's only 20,000 companies in this country with 500 or more employees. There's 30 million plus that have 500 or less, and they create 62% of the jobs every year. So I think they have to change the focus, but I think the net number of jobs is going to increase. And I'll give you one crazy one, that the birth rate in this country is actually declining, right? You guys hear, maybe not all the time, about we need to have more babies and all that kind of stuff, right? Well, if the birth rate is declining, you need to improve the productivity, and by the time your kids are coming out of school, then AI will really be needed to make up for the lack of babies that we have. But that's kind of far afield, but by the time you're out of college in 4 or 6 years, whatever, you won't be looking to work at a big company. You'll be looking to work at a small and medium-sized company to help them compete with the big companies. And there'll be plenty of jobs for people who know AI.
All right, thank you.
You got it.
Mark, I'm gonna let you know because there's like a line of like 30 people. Try to like keep your responses brief so we can
Okay,
go through all.
because I've only got like 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's
before I
what I'm
gotta
saying.
leave.
Okay.
So keep the question short, and I'll give you the answer, short answer.
Hi, Mark. My name's Evan. I wanted to
Can I buy
ask,
you-
what was your biggest investment in Shark Tank?
My biggest win in Shark Tank was Dude Wipes. Use Dude Wipes. They're killing it. They're more than $1 billion company now, and I gave them 200 grand for 15%, and they've never taken any more money. And then Beatbox Beverages is closing in on the $1 billion valuation mark as well, and I gave them $1 million for a third of the company. And then Musha was probably the third. Colors and Co. fourth. So yeah, so I've had some good wins. Appreciate you.
Hi, Mark. I was just wondering how you decide what to invest in.
First, based off of the pitch, does it make me think, why didn't I think of that? That's such a good idea. And then the second piece is it protectable, right? What is it, how is it that someone's not gonna kick your ass? And how is somebody gonna compete with them? If it's a really good idea that makes me think, why didn't I think of that? And it's protectable, they've got a moat around it, then I'm gonna take a serious look.
Awesome, thank you.
You got it?
Hi, my name is Roger. I was wondering, even in a billionaire, what choices or trade-offs you start to make?
I mean, everybody still, it's about health, it's about wellness. My kids don't care how much money I have, right? Just like you don't care how much your parents have. They're still my kids, and you still got to deal with all the things that normal families, other families deal with. It's all the same stuff. Thank you.
Hello. What steps can we take as teenagers to develop well?
Learning AI. I can't say it enough. If you know AI, you're going to have an edge. If you don't, you're going to be behind.
Hi, Mark. My name is Silas. And so what's a failure that you had that turned out to be more valuable than a win? And how do you recognize that?
So I have my first company, Micro Solutions, and that's a great question. And I got a call from a bank. And the banker said to me, we just had this lady drive through the drive-through and cash and white out the payee of a check. So that they changed the name from the company we were writing the check to the name of this lady. And she basically stole $82,000 of the $84,000 we had in the bank. I was toast, right? And I had two options. I could get mad or I had to deal with it. And I had to go to all of our vendors and figure out how to, solve the problem. And what I've learned from it that helped me a lot, even though it was a bad situation, is there's gonna be times when shit happens and you're gonna be pissed. And if you let yourself focus on the being pissed part, you're going to fail. If you let yourself focus on the solving the problem part, you're going to be good for a long, long time. You got it?
Hi, Mark. My question is very similar to the previous one, but when you have failures, how do you just keep yourself pushing forward? How do you take that next step to your goal?
I'm competitive. I don't like to lose, and I just try to keep on learning. One of the greatest skills you can have as a kid, as an entrepreneur, is being curious. And I'm as curious as they come. I'm always trying to learn. And so when there's a failure, I just keep on trying to learn. And I think that's what motivates me. And then, like I said before, remembering why I got started. Why did I go on this journey? Because that's got to be my motivation as well.
Thank you.
You got it?
What drove you to be a billionaire?
I wasn't trying to be a billionaire. Never thought I would be. But sometimes, you get lucky. And I got lucky when the stock market, we had this company and the stock market boomed, and that put me over the line. And so then I decided I'm not going to get greedy, because I knew some other folks that had tried to get really greedy and lost everything. And so I thought, you know what? This is more money than I ever dreamed I could possibly have. I don't need more money. I just need to make sure I keep what I have. And that's what's worked for me. You're welcome.
By the way, how much time do you have left?
I've got 13 minutes.
Hi, Mark. I was wondering, have you built out finding the right people to go create something in college?
Talk to your friends, right? Network. Go, if you're looking for creative people, go where creative people are. If you're looking for tech people, go where tech people are. If you're looking for people that, have the same vibe as you and you're trying to, put something together with, that's where you go.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Hey Mark, my name's Aaron, and I was wondering if you could go back and tell your younger self one thing, what would it be?
Don't screw it up. Sure.
Hi, Mark. I was wondering, what was it like owning the Dallas Mavericks after they won the championship?
It was great. I don't know if you can see the trophy back there. See that shiny thing over my shoulder?
Yeah.
That's the Larry O'Brien trophy. It was badass, I'm not gonna lie. It was like one of the most amazing moments ever, because people don't realize, like, when you get to the finals, you don't know if you're going to win. Like, we lost 2 years ago in the finals, and the stress levels just build the entire series. And we were playing LeBron and D. Wade and Chris Bosh, and we had Dirk and Jay Kidd and Sean Marion and Jason Terry, and we didn't know if we were going to win. And we got to that last moment where we knew we were going to win, and I let out this huge scream because all that stress was gone. That was the best moment. It wasn't actually winning, it was knowing that all that stress is gone, and I had that trophy, and it'll be here forever.
All right, go Mavs.
Yes, sir.
Hi Mark. One question that I have is, what are some very important tips and tricks that you can give to start a business after high school?
Just go for it, right? But you got, like I just said earlier, you got to be curious. You got to always be learning, because the one thing about business is that it always changes. It never stays the same. There's always a new competitor. There's always new technology. So you have to be curious. And for a high school kid, because you got more time, right? And so the time you're playing 2K, that could be a time when you spend half as much time on the playing 2K and more time just playing, going on to Claude, going on to ChatGPT and saying, help me design my own 2K, and learning how to do that. When you start trying those types of things, you're set, you're primed to do your own business. You got it?
So my question
Hey, Mike.
is, in today's age, how would you market something as luxury rather than like regular?
You know, right now with the economy the way it is, it's actually better to market luxury stuff because rich people are doing better because the stock market is up. But I would find where they are online and figure out how you can communicate best with them. You know, is it social media? Is it going to events? Is it, you know, networking? Because, you know, whether it's me or whoever, we're doing things, right? We're going places. We're going to events, and find your way there. And the cool part about it is, like what I used to do when I was 16, 17 in high school, I used to play the student card all the time. Hey, my name is Mark. I'm a student at Mount Lebanon High School. I heard about this event. I'm into business and I want to learn more about what you guys are doing. Would it be possible for me to come one of your meetings and just sit in and learn? You'll be shocked at how many people say yes.
Thank you.
You got it? Nice to meet you.
When you first recognized like your drive and ambition as students, do you remember what was like the very first stepping stones? Was it like lists, talking to someone?
No, actually, like it was when my dad was playing poker. And so what happened was, you know, I was into basketball, and I went in to talk to him and his friends who had been drinking and yucking it up. And I was like, Dad, I want a new pair of basketball shoes. I need some new sneakers. And he goes, those shoes look really good. When you have a job, you can buy whatever you want. And I'm like, Dad, I'm 12 years old. One of his buddies, no lie, pops up and goes, I have all these boxes of garbage bags that you could sell in the neighborhood. I'm like, Dad, can I? He's like, cool. Right? So literally, I would go door to door. Hi, my name is Mark. Do you use garbage bags? Boom. Right? Once I did that, I got some confidence, and then I was able to do more and more and more. But that was the moment, and that was the time that I realized that I could do this. Appreciate you. Yeah. That's a great question, because I've never been asked that before. I guess it's when they don't pay attention, they don't know their role, right? Like I had a role that was sales and tech, and my best partners knew that they were more detail oriented. You know, so I always tried to partner with people. I was always ready, fire, aim, go, 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 go. And I needed partners that were really more organized and more detail oriented. And where things didn't work when that partner or even me went in a different direction, right? Because when one person goes in a different direction, but the business expects this and the employees expect that direction, then it makes it really hard. So you really want to make sure you define your roles really, really, really well and stick to them. But that's a really good question for you. Thank you.
And Mark, my name is Marcus. I was wondering if there's one piece of advice you could give to someone who's kind of in a slump, not really knowing what they want to do. Like, what would you say to them to kind of help them?
Don't stress, right? Try different types of stuff. You know, I didn't know, you know, you don't have to have all the answers now. You don't know all the answers. And plus, shit's going to change, right? By the time, you know, you get out of high school and then college, things will be different. You don't live in the world you were born into, right? And so I would just try different things until, you know, you found something that you really liked. And once you found that thing, just try to get really, really good at it. Because once you find something you like, and once you start putting in the time to be really good at it, if not great at it, people don't quit what they're great at. And when you're great at something, you find ways to get paid for it.
Thanks, Mark.
You got it?
Mark, by the way, how much time do you have left?
I've got 5 minutes.
Hey Mark, I was wondering, what is still motivating you?
What's the what?
As of today, what is still motivating you in life?
Oh, what has motivated me in life? My kids primarily. But costplusdrugs.com, I want to change the healthcare industry, you know, so that you don't have to worry about it so much. But there's a lot of people who can't afford their medications, And to me, that's just wrong in this country, and that's my mission right now. Got it.
Hey Mark, my name's Neil. I was wondering, when you start a business, what's the best way to finance it?
With your own sweat equity, don't raise money, right? Do it with your own time. When you raise money, then it's not your business anymore. Raising money isn't an accomplishment, it's an obligation. It means you've got me or Mr. Wonderful or somebody, right, that's gonna be asking you for, how much money you make me, how much money you make me. When especially now as a kid, just go for it with your own time. And once you do that, just grow it, and maybe someday you'll wanna raise money, but hopefully you'll just make it so much cash, right, that you will never have to raise money.
Last question from the audience.
Sure.
Hello, my name's Natalie. I'm from a hair growth company, and I wanted to ask, what's the best marketing strategy to scale?
What kind of company is it?
It's a hair growth supplement.
A hair growth supplement,
Yeah.
like Nutrafol and all that kind of stuff, right? Go where they are. Go where, the Nutrafols, the Genogens, and all those guys are. You can tell I need to know that stuff. And so go where they are and see what works for them, and then figure out how your product fits relative to them, and use that to your advantage. Because you gotta have an advantage, right? You've gotta have something, whether it's price, nutrients, experiences, whatever. And the other thing I would tell you, that most of the companies don't have, random controlled trials. They don't have real data behind them. So the more data you have, the better advantage you'll have.
I also
Yeah.
wanted to say, everyone, thank you.
You got it.
So we're wrapping up with the Q&A. Mark, with the remaining time, I just want to ask you, what's the last message you would send to the student trajectories?
Sure. Be curious, learn, experience everything. I mean, the best is right in front of you. There's no better time to start a business than right now. And you don't have to think, well, I'm a kid, I can't do it. You're in better shape to do it than somebody my age, that's for darn sure, right? Because there's nothing holding you back. You got nothing to lose when you start a business right now. And the very best time to start a business is when you're young, you got nothing to lose, you know and understand technology like AI better than your parents, better than people, that they work with. Just go for it. Go for it. And use ChatGPT, Gemini, etc. as resources to write those business plans, to develop those websites, to teach you how to do agents, to show you how to get further ahead and help your business. Oh my God, like if I was 16, 17, I would be going nuts starting business. And so now's the time to do it.
Thank you. Everyone, clap it up for Mark Cuban. See you.
Stay seated, stay seated.
Thank you everyone for coming.
Stay seated, stay seated, stay seated. Have a seat. It is